Good morning, fabulous people. It's Open House Thursday. I am Mariah Afolabi. Welcome to Your View. As always, I have my lovely co-host here with me. Good morning, ladies. Hello. We have Lanre in the building. It's good to have you, Lanre.
Already feeling
like a part of us, right? You're more relaxed today than last week. That's so good to have you.
You know, viewers don't know what goes on.
Trust me, they don't. Yes, so talk about how you doing.
I'm very, very good. I'm very happy.
You like the hair?
I have a vision in my head about how I want my.
You always dramatize everything. Yes,
I have.
You like your hair? Just say thank you.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, that's all I want to hear. Talk about the vision now. Talk about the vision now. Yeah.
I have a vision in my head about how I want my hair to look. I want to have fun and be adventurous with my look. So this is the first phase, and I want to keep unveiling it as time goes on. So.
All right. Very good. Lanre, so tell us, how have you been? I mean, how is family? Did your wife watch last week Thursday?
No, she had a meeting.
Oh.
I'm sure she's going to be watching today's one.
Oh,
but because, you know, she got a lot of responses on social media. Oh, yeah, it was crazy.
Wow.
It was crazy on social media, you know, after the show.
Yeah, a lot of people learned so much.
Yeah.
And that's why we had to bring you back. Yes. Nima, how is Gufran?
Gufran is very well. Growing fast every day.
Oh, that's good.
Then I want to wish happy birthday to everybody in this month of March that I missed their birthdays. Starting with my niece, my other sister, my best friend, and then our Facebook fan. Yesterday was her birthday. It should be the name. I'll check and maybe when I remember later.
Fantastic.
Every March birthday. Then my nephew too is. His birthday is on Sunday.
Okay, fantastic.
Happy birthday.
And Jumoke too.
And Jumoke. Hello.
All right.
Hello, Mariah.
I love your jacket.
Oh,
it's fantastic.
The bidding.
This is not a 2,000 naira dress.
We all know that.
This is high level,
Let me explain to you. Well, no, I'm not supposed to be smiling today. You know that?
Oh, that's you lost
No, it's not even the. Yeah, I lost someone. But you see, the truth of this issue is the economy is terrible right now.
$100.
No, it's not. Honestly, because I tried restocking. Normally items maybe you would buy for about 300,000. You're paying almost £1 million for the same quantity of items. Wow. And I'm wondering, how do they expect us to survive in business?
Okay, that's you're a businesswoman, so I can understand.
No, it is really crazy. I can't wait for these elections to be over and at least let's have some bit of sanity. It's not like our income is increasing, but everything is just rising.
I know. I'm trying to go and buy goat meat this weekend. I hope it does not. That one is one that concerns me, not the 300,000 naira stock. But I understand.
The regular goat meat.
Yes, the regular goat meat. All right, we have the news mentioned this morning. According to a recent study, male smokers are 3 times more likely than non-smoking men to lose their Y chromosomes, which determines the sex of a child and sperm production.
Tell them.
And then the smokers in the building. Our husband smoking. Nima, your husband smoking?
No, go forbid.
It can't
happen.
Larry, you don't smoke, do you?
No, I don't.
Yeah. So if you know any smokers, let them know.
I think we should, the signposting is the fact that if you're a man and you've been actively smoking for a long time, the likelihood of you having a male child reduces. So you should take that into consideration when you're smoking.
First, start blaming your wife for not giving you a male child.
Exactly.
So you're saying it's the man's fault.
Yes.
It's not so.
If you're born woman.
I know a man that smokes very well. He only has male children. No, it's entirely a man's fault whether he has male or female children.
Well,
it's a study.
Please,
it's a study.
Let me quickly say this. The lady I was talking about her birthday just sent a message again. Her name is Ayodele Chubitemi Osudeko.
Okay,
it was you I was talking about. I didn't miss
it. Okay, thanks for disrupting our conversation. Okay, happy birthday. No more talking about the male chromosomes again. All right, that's it on our banter this morning. Let's take a quick break. When we return, we'll look through the front pages of the newspaper. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Yes, let's start with the punch. I almost got burnt there. Morocco files back. Nigeria lied. Our king didn't talk to Jonathan. North African country recalls ambassador. You can see the picture of the king, Mohammed. And I can read a small quote here. Contrary to the allegations made by Nigerian authorities to the ambassador of His Majesty the King in Abuja and local media, the Kingdom of Morocco confirms in the clearest and strongest terms that there has never been a phone conversation between His Majesty King Mohammed VI and the President of this country. APC senators walk out as Senate clears Obanikoro. Budget. National Assembly adopts $53 as oil benchmark. 5 injured as fire guts fine coat paints. And school roof crashes on Ogun pupils, kills 1. Let's talk about the Moroccan story, because all of it is the major story on Punch. Yeah. Who has that story?
What I want to say, I have a comment. I want someone to establish it so that I can fire.
Okay, what I read in Punch was that we're informed that our president had a conversation with His Majesty, King Mohammed. And the idea was just to talk about, they assume that it's to get there's an electioneering campaign for the strategy for the president, just to win votes in the north, saying that, okay, myself and the king were on good terms having a conversation, and he's in support of my campaign, sort of. That was what is implied. And they're saying, no, that's not true, that our king never had a conversation with you. In fact, they actually called back their ambassador to their country, saying, you know what, they don't want to be part of this electioneering.
This is just, they want to clearly define their stance concerning the president. We've had a presidency that, you know, we don't trust our president. And these are reasons why we wouldn't trust him, because we keep hearing from his camp a lot of lies being propelled out, a lot of statements that would be making commitment to doing something, and then he would do exactly opposite. I am waiting for Femi Fani-Kayode to address this in his very eloquent style, whether he would call them a liar.
But Murayo, what in concern Morocco?
No, Morocco.
Exactly my point.
Hold on.
Exactly.
What is the concern between Morocco and Nigeria?
Exactly.
If at all you want to woo the northern, we know what to do.
The northern
it's
Muslims.
a simple thing. Make them feel that they are important to you. Now look at the Chibok
he has created
issue.
the Almajiri schools.
Hold on, forget Almajiri schools. Look at what happened in Chibok. That was the exact complaint that the parents were saying. When this thing happened, none of you came. Now you want to, there's elections coming up. You're now coming to say you want to build a school and all that. We always have misplaced priority all the time.
All right. I would like Lanre to comment on this Obanikoro's confirmation. There was a walkout in the Senate. I think all the APC senators walked out saying that he shouldn't confer. Do you agree with the walkout, or do you think that, I mean, it was okay for them to confer him?
I mean, you know, they say that the law says that you are innocent until proven guilty. True. You know, and, you know, we must follow the law to the letter. And, you know, the senators have a right to say, you know what, we support, we do not support. Yes. And the ones that did not support did not vote for it. But it still went through. Yeah. You know, and that's what democracy is really all about, where, you know, we've got to give room for the leftists, the rightists, and, you know, at the end of the day, it's about voting.
Yeah. All right.
Okay. Unfortunately, I want to disagree with Larry this morning. When House matters, they have rules, they have conventions, they have things that direct what they do on the floor of the House. If they have a convention that says when people of a constituency, now House of senators from a particular constituency, up to 3 of them,
yes,
that is the voice of the people back home.
Yes.
Because we run a representative kind of government. If they say we say no to this kind of person, probably because of his character, we have issues of integrity against him. There's an issue that should be investigated against him
before his approval.
The Senate president should at that point stand that thing down, because it means people back home don't want that person to represent them. That is what it is.
It depends on how many.
We saw I saw skimming yesterday. That is why I saw it, because that is what you see, the kind of politics you see on the floor.
What I want to say is this case, this scenario has happened before, where the Senate was supposed to approve someone, and because the members of the representative from that particular state kicked against it, the person was not approved. So there's a partiality in this particular confirmation. Because you shouldn't have been allowed, since your people don't want you.
If the House now went for that to use a convention and say, because you were once a senator, take a bow, that means they recognize convention.
But do you know
that convention Chokwe just cited that happened before should have been followed.
All right, let me come to Lanre.
Do you know how politics is done, right? It's about lobbying, right? It's about votes, you know, and at the end of the day, right, you're going to count the votes, people for yay and people against nay, and they counted the votes, and you know, it passed. At the end of the day, that's how it works.
All right, let's move on to the nation.
I want to make my own comment.
Okay, well, let's move on to this.
I'm just saying that the position that Senator Obanikoro is holding is a very sensitive position, especially now that we have a lot of insecurities.
That has been abused.
Do you understand that? Yeah. So whatever it is, I would expect that the senators would have said, hold on, let's clear the air and ensure that that matter for the rigging of Ekiti is solved before going ahead to appoint.
All right, let's move on to the nation. Major headline here. Jonathan okays oil jobs for Tompolo, Fashion, others. Multi-billion pipelines contracts begin Monday. NNPC says it's in order. IBB disowns interim government plot. Buhari, I won't probe past governments. Anxiety in PDP over Muazu. All right, so let's talk about this Tompolo matter. Let me start with Nima, because I know Nima has that story.
What I read was that Tompolo, Asari Dokubo, and their funny companies that, you know, they had have been contracts have been approved for them to guide our pipelines and all that.
And they've asked the police.
A further contract has been given
NSDC
to Fashion, and Gani Adam is also being considered to, you know, to guide pipelines. And they've told the NSCDC, the people that usually guide these pipelines, to stop guiding them while this contract goes through, and the companies start to guard them. Issues now are, I have always wondered, because whenever I hear this set of people, especially Fashion and Gani Adams campaign
the OPC.
For the PDP, the OPC guys, I always wonder when they say the Yoruba elders, they're always the two of them just appearing. And they used to base it on the fact that they appeared at the confab to represent these people. Those were just the arguments. They never really had you know, something to show that this is what they've done, this is why I support it. You understand?
But
now, it makes sense because when there's interest,
there's somebody amongst the list. Sorry, Tokbe. His name is Chief Bibo Piri or something, Ajube, aka General Shoot at Sight. So honestly, what is the job of the Navy?
It wasn't done by Navy. It was done by the police.
I'm just saying,
and
why would you employ
a
private company to guard your waterways?
That's what
we are mortgaging our country. We're already dividing and selling out our resources to people. The security of the country is part of what makes us a sovereign nation. That is part of our nation. With the fact that this is how we secure our country as a whole, and this is supposed to be controlled by the state. It is a state apparatus. It is something that you should use to say, oh, I'm holding you accountable for this. I'm pulling the police away from here. But we cannot afford to let ourselves let go of our guard to people that have been reputed to be thieves. And I use the word thieves carefully because I know that they have been told to steal. No, I'm using Tompolo is a known former militant who used to steal oil.
Yes.
Shoot at sight, General Bikpo Ajibe is also a known. So even if you've been reconfirmed, it defiles reasoning for them to do that.
Is vital. Like, what's the role of the Navy? That's their job. The waterways.
I don't know.
They told them to quit their job.
No, not even the Navy. They just got them new ships. Remember? They just launched new ships for the Navy. So what are they doing exactly? If you're going to be getting Tompolo to be guarding our waterways, I don't get it. Move on to Vanguard. Vanguard. Moving on. Attacks on Buhari. You are desperate. APC fires back at PDP governors. Let's see. UN says 2030 deadline for gender equality. Nigeria economy in clear and present danger. Tension as NLC's election holds today. All right. Anybody read any articles in Vanguard? I didn't think anything. Nothing.
The NLC elections. We're just hoping to. I think by tomorrow we should be able to. We'll know
after the violence.
Yes, sir. Ballot boxes anymore.
So sad. Okay, let's move on to Daily Sun. Buhari reads Riot Act on corruption. I won't spare offenders from 2015. But past leaders will be pardoned. Interim government, I'm not involved, says IBB. Uproar as Senate confirms Obanikoro as minister. Ex-militants may take over waterway pipeline protection. And DSS restores Tambuwal security. All right, anybody read this Buhari story that he said that he would...
Yes, the Kaduna rally. He made a comment that he would not hound the way, not verbatim, past governors, but he will allow the course of the law to take its course, so that if an agency was investigating them, you know, will allow the court process to go on.
Because people are getting scared of him.
So people are afraid
of him.
People are so afraid of him. After he put somebody inside crate from London, you have to be afraid. But he's trying to emphasize that we shouldn't bother, because honestly speaking, the level of corruption that's eaten into this country is very, very deep. So if you want to probe anybody, all of them, all of them.
But I think he said at Chatham House that, listen, that as a military man, he used military tactics.
Yes.
Now
he needs to be democratic about
it. Exactly, which is what is
now.
also confirmed.
Yeah, and he's a Democrat now, so things are going to be different. But let's talk about IBB saying that he's not involved in interim government.
Even me, I don't understand that interim government matter. You know, how, you know, what do they want to do? But I don't think it can fly.
I hope not.
After this,
but it's flying around, we're hearing it.
Yeah, there's so much speculations about it. And the fact that he's stepping up and saying that he's not involved means that there is some credence to the fact that people are talking about it. They shouldn't even be talking about it at all.
And I was hearing the story about this new party that was recently...
That they need to add to the list.
Add to the list. And they have to reprint. That will be their excuse for extending again. We don't even know. We just think these are all speculations. All we know is that
the new party is not a speculation.
No, I want to say that if INEC now says, "Oh, I have to go and add them to the list,"
they have to print all the ballot papers and all of that.
But that shouldn't be allowed. The INEC is already showing some signs of that they're not as prepared as we thought they were, and I'm not expecting.
Our last paper for this morning is the Guardian major headline: "No ISIS presence in Nigeria," says government. Why PDP shifts focus to Southwest? Senate reps agree on $53 benchmark for 2015 budget, and anxiety intrigues as NLC rescheduled elections hold today. Okay, PDP has faced Southwest. We've all known that. I mean, they're around. They realize that if you don't get Southwest, the North obviously they know is gone. Southwest is they believe, well, from what I've read,
the swing states.
Unfortunately, Southwest it might be a swing. So they want to try to swing it towards the PDP.
But unfortunately for the PDP, if they don't tame what's their name, Fayoshe and Fani Kayode, it will be difficult because a lot of people here, we don't just vote blindly. We follow
sentimental as the rest.
We are not. I'm not a sentimental person. I follow what I think.
Speak for yourself.
Is
but
good
there are
for
other
me.
places like Ekiti.
No, Ekiti, they are learning now. They've realized that something has happened.
Stomach infrastructure has showed them.
They have showed them something. So even they themselves, I'm sure that they will not make that same mistake if given another chance.
Okay. On that note, we end front page review. When we return, we're now going to sit down with Lanre to get more enlightened on who influences the child the most. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Children engage in a continuous process of learning about themselves and their world. As they mature, that world expands from their home and parents to siblings, to peers, and eventually to people and places. Parenting involves being present in a child's life, especially during critical milestones. How do we understand our child's temperaments? Joining us to discuss this is Mr. Lanre Olushola, who is a life coach. Also, you can call us on 070-806-6814. You could tweet to us at YOURVIEW. We started this series last week. And last week, Lanre helped us understand the various temperaments of a child from 0 to 7. That's the most critical age for a child. And parents, we must understand the kind of personality our child has so that we can better know how to train them. Because we raise the question of how do I know, do I spank my child? Do I do the naughty corner? And it's like every child is different. It's based on their own personality. And we learned that, but I might need you to do a quick recap on that before we then move to the age 8 to, is it 14?
Yeah, 14 or
up
to the
so
teen.
What the next stage is. But let's do a quick recap for those that did not watch this last week.
Okay, last week we talked about the different temperaments of children and the different developmental needs and their learning needs and their love and appreciation languages. So you have children that are visual children. You have children that are feelers, they're kinesthetic. You have children that are auditory tonal, and you have children that are auditory digital. And the simple meaning of this is they're children that, when you want to teach them, when you want to help them learn, you paint pictures, you show them, graphs, you show them pictures, you show them colors, and you use visual language. Can you see what I'm talking about? Can you visualize, what I'm trying to teach you? Now you have children that are auditory tonal. Can you hear what I'm saying? You use auditory tonal words. And those children learn by you talking to them. And, you know, for visual children, when you want to punish them or you want to reward them, you take away their gifts, things that they can see, right? Or you give them gifts. Yeah. Now, auditory tonal children, their appreciation language is words of affirmation. Tell them you love them. Tell them how important they are to you. You tell them that, you know, you respect, you honor them. You know, you speak positively to them. And when you want to punish them, you also speak to them. There are certain children that you say that, I need to have a word with you. And, you know, the child is already shaking and jittery. Now, there are auditory digital children. They are the children that are logical. They like to make sense of everything, right? You've got to sit those children down and tell them why they shouldn't do certain things. But most importantly, tell them what to do instead. Or ask them what is the right step to take. What is the right thing to do and what is the right thing to say. And of course, there's the kinesthetic children, the children that feel through things, right? And those are the children that you tell them to, you know, stoop down, you punish them, you spank them because they feel a lot. And so you've got to understand that if you cane a child that is auditory digital, that makes sense of things, he was just going to say to you, all they are going to do is to cane me. And those are the kind of children that become rebellious because they're already waiting. So all mommy will do is to cane me. You know, so you've got to understand how to relate with those children.
Now, we'll come to how to determine this in your children because that's pretty important. But a lot of parents are out there saying, listen, I've missed 0 to 7. I don't even, I've trained them. I'm not even sure how I've related with my child. Now my child is early teenage, 13, 14, and she has a mind of her own. How do they fix it? Is this fixable?
It is.
That 0 to 7?
It is. That's the time that you now need to dedicate a lot of time, you know, to parenting. Because you see, that's the age where their friends, their peers, and TV, you know, influences them a lot. So you've got to position, right, with a lot of love. You've got to show that you care, right? You've got to discipline and punish them with a lot of love and not anger. You've got to be there for your child. You've got to relate with your child. You've got to speak to your child. You know, you've got to tell your child every day that you love them. And, you know, you have to find every opportunity and every reason to learn and to teach something with your child. So if something goes wrong, it's an opportunity to ask your child, so what is wrong in what just happened and what could you have done differently? But one thing that I find always happens is we tell our children what not to do. And that's, you know, that is not what parenting is all about. You've got to tell them what to do instead. And you've got to let them begin to be solution focused. They've got to begin to think about what to do. So you've got to engage them in conversations. Then a lot of parents, right, they want to be their children's friend. You are not your child's friend. You are your child's parent.
Exactly.
You are your child's mother. But friendship is a parenting tool, like caning is. So you want your child to be open with you. You want to create a trusting, open relationship with your child. Now, you've got to come across as, you know, you are approachable. Your child can talk to you. Your child can open up to you. That is what you do with friendship. But you are not your child's friend.
How do you avoid being taken for granted? I'm saying within, I'm still raising children within the first age bracket, and you feel that, oh, you smile a lot with your children, but you now want to really caution the child. He will think you're playing and he will just end up laughing. You know, and you're like, no, stop it. Then he looks at you and he laughs.
You know, that's the issue with friendship. You've taken it beyond, you know, where you're supposed to take it to. Your daughter or your son needs to know that this is mommy. And this is my parent. And they need to know when you're serious and when you're not serious. Remember when we were growing up, all your mother needs to do is one look.
And that's it.
When you go to your friend's house and they ask you, do you want to eat?
My mother but they were harsh. We saw them. We saw them. We used to interpret that as being very harsh. Now I feel that I want to be reasonable with my child and explain to my child. But sometimes I can't explain in the open place and he's like throwing tantrums. I'm like, he's bad habit and he keeps throwing tantrums. No, don't touch it, and he keeps throwing tantrums. And I'm like, I don't want to spank him. You'll be like, you didn't train him well at home and all that. That's why he's displaying this outside. So you're saying that I'm supposed to clearly define the boundaries of playing.
You have to set the boundaries. Your child needs to know what the boundaries are. Now, a lot of times, right, we are saying that because our parents did this, we will not do it. Invariably, you do it. So, you know, what a lot of the things that our parents did, they did it well, but they overdid it.
Yeah.
So you've got to be able to set the parameters and say that, you know what, no, this one is excessive. But it doesn't mean that you throw the water with the bath water and the child
I like the whole
out
argument on the friendship thing, because
yeah.
I see a lot of parents saying, oh, she's my friend, we're friends, both of us talk, you know, and they overdo it such that when it's time to reprimand the child, it's harder because you've now become friends. But let me take Nima.
No, I was going to build on what Tokwe said, because Tokwe's kids are just the same, I think the same age bracket as my daughter. She has this thing, you know, there's a way you try to communicate with her and she just doesn't get it. Like Tokwe cited an example, you go out, someone offers her something. You don't want to offend the person, so you allow her take it, hoping that you get home before she opens it and you can take it back from her, you know, you correct her. She just opens it there and starts eating, you understand? And then when you get back home, try to correct her, it has already happened. She has forgotten what happened. So how do you communicate with that kind of, especially when the child is below 3, that you think she doesn't comprehend what you're doing?
Look, let me tell you, right, whether the child is 1 or 2, they know when to push your buttons. Children, look, I asked parents, how old really is your child spiritually, psychologically? You know, that child understands what's going on. Children don't learn logically. They learn subliminally. They're watching you and they're picking up things from you. They're like mops. They pick up things within their environment. Children are wise. Children are intelligent. They know, they push your buttons. And so in that kind of scenario, so, you know, another thing is about letting your child make the mistakes, right? So let them take what it is that they want to take. Let them eat it. Then when we get home, you will hear when.
Yeah, but then that's why I feel that, you know, when I now try to scold her, that the other time they give it, she does be looking like this.
No, she understands what you're saying, but the important thing is you speak your child's language. Is your child logical? Is your child visual? Is your child kinesthetic? Is your child, you know, auditory tonal? Now, once you understand that, you speak that language. So now, if the child collected something, make sure that that thing is available.
The type of it.
The type of it. That means your child is visual, right? You say, hey, this thing that when we went to Auntie Debola's house, you took this biscuit. Abi, you understand? You remember when you took this biscuit. What should you have done? Then the child begins to feign ignorance. Yes, yes. So, if you don't tell me what you should have done, I'm going to spank you. If that child is kinesthetic, then that child begins to tell you, oh, mommy, I shouldn't have taken it. So when you took it, what were you thinking? And what should you have done instead? Right? Then the child begins to tell you, I should not have taken it. So the next time we go to Auntie Debola's house and Auntie Debola tells you that come and take biscuit, what would you say?
Yeah.
You say, thank you, ma.
Right,
And what will happen to you if you take it? Say, mommy, you will spank me. Now, how do I caution you so that you don't make that mistake when we get to Auntie Debola's house? If I look at you this way, you need to understand that you cannot take that thing. And if you take it, instead of giving you 5 strokes of the cane, I will give you 10 strokes of the cane. So you build on every single thing, but you've got to let your children make mistakes, because, you know, mistakes also are opportunities for you to learn how to correct your child, how to build up your child. But a lot of times, right, a lot of parents, they destroy their children's self-esteem and their self-confidence.
Yes, that's very key.
And that is very, very critical. Make sure that you do not destroy your child's self-esteem and your child's self-confidence.
That we'll talk about self-esteem, because a lot of families having issues today simply because somebody destroyed their self-esteem when they were growing up. And a lot of parents today are trying very hard to also to build the confidence, but at the same time to caution.
You not have children talking to their parents anyhow, because we want to let them express themselves.
Exactly.
Oh, mommy, shut up. Oh, mommy, shut up. Mommy, you can't say that. We didn't need to say that, but we allow it now because we don't want to make them subservient to us in one way or the other. We now end up having...
So we'll deal on that issue when we take a quick break. When we come back, more with Lanre Olushola. Stay with us. Welcome back. All right, so this you were going to say something, Uwa.
Yeah, I wanted to respond to what Nima said, because I realized that a lot of times I've seen Tokwe with her children. Tokwe will be, when she's serious, they don't know when she's serious and when she's smiling. So that one is her.
Yes.
You know the funny thing, because children always do that. When you are upset with them, they'll not start trying to smile. Then you don't know when you not start laughing.
They disarm you.
I try as much as possible at that point in time to think of something that is making me very angry. So I just keep a straight face. Because I realized that when they continue to do it over time, my sister's son used to do that to her a lot, until she now realized that this guy has been programming her. So I think a lot of parents, that particular this thing is from the parents. Well, however, for Nima's case, if someone gives my child something, I don't care whether the person, I'll be embarrassed or the person will be embarrassed. The bottom line is that we're trying to groom a child here. Yes. I would have collected it from the child, and I'll tell the woman, please, don't be offended, but I'm trying to correct her. She knows what to do, and she's not doing it right. That is why till tomorrow, when the children take party pack in school, they come to show me first. I say, okay, have you prayed on it before you take it? Yeah. Because they already understand that you cannot take anything without mommy seeing it.
Let me take Jessica's call. Good morning, Jessica.
Good morning. Please, I have a question.
Please.
I'm a single mother.
Okay.
My daughter is the teacher said she's above average, but an issue came up in the family, and her daddy said something she didn't like. So it took me like 2 years to be able to get her out of it. How? She kept failing her exams from first term to third term. She failed all through, and this was not her. Now, one of our teachers now advised me that this is not ordinary, I should pray, spiritual and stuff. And I broke down and started crying because they have a counseling unit. They now called me and asked if there's something wrong in the house. Yeah. I said, not really. They said, this child is dropping in education. So my question is, can problem at home or a family environment affect the performance of a child? Right now, she has picked up, glory be to God, because I had to change her and everything.
All right. Yeah. Thank you so much, Jessica.
The child's performance.
Thank you, Jessica. Yes, Lanre.
Yeah, thank you very much, Jessica. You know, it's one of the things that, you know, we advocate and say that the environment is very critical to a child's behavior. In fact, you know, we all respond to our environment, how we interpret our environment, how we interact with things and people within our environment, you know, provokes us to create a coping mechanism or a response mechanism that we call a behavior. Now, an interaction between you and things within your environment or situations within your environment and how you perceive them, right, creates a behavior. And that behavior begins to affect your capabilities or your abilities around that time. So oftentimes when a child's performance, academic performance, right, begins to dip, one of the things that we do in therapy is we ask the parents, what is happening between you and your husband? Around this time, what happened in the home? And oftentimes the child suffered a traumatic situation. And what we've got to understand is what will traumatize a 3-year-old or a 5-year-old is completely different from what will traumatize a 35-year-old. So just the husband slapping the wife
alone,
or the husband screaming at the wife at the top of his voice, right? And the children hearing from their room when the husband's door is locked, alone can traumatize a child.
Let me pause you there because I have Yakub on the phone. Good morning, Yakub.
Yeah, good morning.
Please go ahead.
Yeah. In fact, I should give thanks to you and God Almighty Allah, because this your program, all your people, has been a good one. Because this very particular gentleman in the middle, we all in the home have learned a lot of things from this morning.
You've learned a lot of things. Oh, Yakub, are you still there?
Okay. I wanted to say something, Murayo, and I've been thinking whether I should talk about it or not, but I feel some people were able to learn from my personal experience. With my parents, I'm an only child, and at a point, I grew up, I think it happened maybe when I was like a teenager, I think maybe like 13 or 14. I noticed my parents had some issues, and it made me grow up feeling like I didn't like my dad. I felt that I just didn't just feel him anymore. It just happened. And I right now, when I recollect that, when I was really much younger, I really, really was close to my dad because I looked so much like him. It happened that they had some issues, and I felt my dad was not respecting my mom. I saw how hard my mom was working to support the family, and I felt my dad was trivializing her efforts and was not encouraging her. My dad, she would like go out and she comes back late, she's so tired. My dad would just make some comments that were like, maybe, you know, what have you been doing all day? And I was with her. I know how she was hustling. So something in me just triggered And it made me now spend the rest of my teenage years not understanding or appreciating him and the good things he was doing. It took me about to get married, and my church telling me, your dad has to give you consent. I was like, no, I'm married without him. And they told me, you have to go and beg him and let him understand. He's your father. You paid your script. So thinking about it, he didn't know what he was doing. He wasn't offending me. He loved me.
So
he was caring for me.
Her, obviously, during that period.
It did traumatize her. And, you know, one of the things that may have happened is it may have affected her relationship with men. You know, but she'll be wondering, oh, why don't I respect men? Why am I always fighting?
Till now,
why? Oh, she says till now. Why am I always trying to defend my turf? You know, why? She may even say that, you know what, men have to pay all the bills. And you know what, my money is my money.
Azir, you're just defining me. You are do you know that this is just from one situation?
Good morning, are you there? I think I have Precious. Good morning, Precious. Go ahead.
Yes, good morning.
Yes, please, go ahead.
Please, I really enjoy your program. You guys are doing so very well.
Thank you.
And what I really want you people to do is to take this program to a medium where a channel that the DSTV will be able to pick so that almost all Nigerians will be able to listen to you people.
Thank you.
I really appreciate you.
Thank you very much.
God bless you.
So,
that was it.
Yeah, so Tokwe, you know, your money is your money, and his money is our money, and he has to pay all the bills. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. No, but really, but I'm having to, because I'm a Christian and because I have like the church factor and all that, I'm consciously reworking myself. I am now realizing my faults, but it took me a long time, and I just want parents right now, you just keep the fights away from your child, because you don't know how long it will take her to undo the damage.
Because all of us have our own issues. We all have our own issues, so it's not just Tokwe's own. But let us go back to the issue of self-esteem. And also, you mentioned family vision last week. So I wanted you to also talk a bit on that. But let's start with the self-esteem thing. How do we build self-confidence in our children without crossing the line of disobedience? You
know, look, the children will always push the boundaries. They will always try to push the boundaries. Now, what is most important is that, you know, you also live by example. A lot of parents say, do as I say, but they do the different things. So you've got to stick with the discipline as well, and you've got to live those values. And that's where the family vision and goals and values and core beliefs are very critical.
Sorry, I have to pause you because I want to take a call. I don't want to just leave our callers out. Are you there? Hello?
Yes,
please go ahead. Let me take you the call.
All right, good morning.
Morning.
Good morning, Lanre.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm fine. I'm from Calvary Bible Church. Olumide, maybe you know the place I'm talking about.
Yes, yes.
I will suggest that you come back again and deal on this issue very well.
Do you have a question, sir?
What I want to ask is this: when the mother is always listed before her 8 years, 7 years, 8 years, 4 years old child, who is a boy, does it have any effect on those children?
Going naked in front of your children.
Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I think going naked in front of your children.
Yes, you know, there are different evolution stages, right? When the husband and the wife are together and you have a daughter, you will find out that the daughter begins to compete with the mother. And the son begins to compete with the father.
When you are naked?
Yes. And when you are even touching each other, when you are doing lovey-dovey, there's a certain age between the ages of 2 and 5 where you will notice a lot of jealousy in your child. That's the stage where they need to stop seeing you naked. You know, they need to stop seeing the father naked. They need to stop seeing the mother naked, because what the guy begins to do is he begins to look at his own private part and look at his father's private part and begin to think, I can't compete with this man now. This man is bigger than me. And, you know, and that's how children function. You know, that's the stage where they begin to touch themselves. They begin to play with themselves. You know, you're wondering, stop touching yourself. That's the age where when they sleep and wake up, if it's a boy, he has a hard on when he's waking up. You know, and you're wondering what's going on. You know, it's an evolution stage. It's normal, and you've got to do the right thing. You know, you cannot shower in front of your children at a certain age.
Okay.
Are you saying okay? Are you?
Because you know what? Growing up in our house, we are 9.
9 girls.
Two boys and 7 girls. All of us. It was only one of my sister Faith that they used to follow us with that nakedness. All of us from head to toe. We used to walk around the whole house early in the morning like that. It's like a Fuji house of commotion. Everybody is naked until tomorrow. My mom and my dad, they still walk around the house naked. But I didn't think it had any effect on me. But my husband is always cautioning me, stop going naked in front of these boys. But now that you're explaining.
Yeah, it's making sense. Let me take this call. Good morning, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Please go ahead.
I'm a first-time caller.
Yay!
I'm so excited about you girls, but I'm meeting someone, the lively, is it T.Y.? Stella's daughter.
Oh,
YK, she's not here. She's not here today.
Okay, just tell her I love her.
Wow.
Okay, I just want to say something about children, the teacher, and the home. There's a big problem I've noticed because I taught a number of years. Parents sometimes behave as if teachers should be the parents, should be the teacher, should be the one correcting, and the teacher is all and all without any support from the parents. So I think the best thing is for a parent or parents to have a link between the school and the home. Follow up a lot of things, because as a teacher, there was nothing I didn't see. And sometimes a parent will come being a stranger to the child. So the whole thing is, if you think you know your child, the teacher may not know him. Link it up, and then you find out that your child may have 2 faces. One for the home, one for the school. It's your job to know which of the things to remove from the school and from the home.
Thank you so much.
You go to the school. What I said.
Because Uwa cited an example which happens in my own house too, but it saved my younger sister when we were growing up. Because we used to do that naked thing, walking around and going to, especially in the morning. So somebody tried to assault her. And then when she came home, she would describe to my mom and said, Uncle so was pulling me. He said I should come and take sweet, and then he put me inside. And then he brought out his tail, like my brother's tail. And that description was what prompted my mom to, investigate. We found out that he had already molested all the little children of about her age. She was the only one who spoke out. Do you understand? So I don't want to think that it's completely bad to,
because you know why I do that? Can I explain why before you help me understand why it's wrong? I do that for them to be comfortable seeing a naked body. I don't want them to be ashamed. I don't think they should have, when God created Adam and Eve, there was no shame inside of them. No, it's true. Right, so that's why most times I do that. But let's always saying no.
Let me tell you what children would do. They would start checking porn sites. Jesus. Because they never get enough. That's the thing. They start comparing. They start looking. You've started to whet their appetite. They start looking at you.
A fully dressed person and imagine.
And they start imagining. But that's where sex education comes in, Nima. You've got to tell your child it's not a tail. It's a penis.
Yes.
No, but then it was that was what she
Yes, I understand. In that case, it worked. But what you've got to do is you've got to start to talk to your children about sex.
What age is the best time to start?
At any age that you think that they're beginning to notice what's going on, and you would always tell when your children are responding to these things.
That's my second son.
How old is he? You see, you will see when his guy is captivated. When he's following you,
and during the movie scenes, they kiss and he looks at it.
He'll be doing like this when they're kissing. He'll be like this. Alpha will not even look at all.
No,
but then you'll be creepy like
they know. And that's the stage. Why are you winking? Why are you closing your eyes? How do you know that they're about to kiss? They do all of these things.
Because my daughter is just 3 years old, and I think it was like a month ago, my house help was reporting to my husband that one of the neighbor's children, a boy, is just fond of my daughter, who hold down her leg, want to be touch. My husband went there with the fight. Went there, I will arrest your son. He
How
went.
old is the boy?
Like 13.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a dangerous age.
My husband went there with a vengeance, ready. But you see, my daughter is there like, I feel like she's still innocent. She has no idea what's going on. But now that you said that we should start talking to them about sex, I'm likely to go and call her again and just explain to her what her dad said, because she was also almost traumatized. Like, why is my daddy making an issue out of this?
You must teach them. He said, so for example, he's 13 years old. How old are you? Now what does he do? He puts you on his lap. Why should he be putting you on his lap? Nobody should ever, apart from your daddy or your mommy, put you on his lap. You know, and you would explain the reasons why. You know, so if any uncle, teacher, driver tells you to come and sit on his lap, you say, my daddy says that I cannot. Right? And make sure you come and report so that I will go and fight the person just as I've gone to fight this boy. And that's how you begin to build up your children's self-esteem, self-confidence. And you create an open environment where they can come and tell you anything. You've got to show that you are there to protect them. You've got to show them that you love them. Don't overprotect them, though, because a lot of us have baggage. You know, but there's a lot of issues going on, because from house girl to house boy to driver. You've got to be so observant, to teacher. You know, and that's why that caller is very, very critical.
How often should we go to the school to check on?
You should go to the school quite often. But what is most important is you are your child's greatest role model, not the teacher. So you are the one that is supposed to go to your to the teacher and tell the teacher about your child. Look,
not the other way around.
Yes, my child is visual. My child loves a lot of sports. I mean, my daughter represents Nigeria in swimming. She plays soccer. She plays table tennis. You know, she plays PSP, FIFA 15. She's very good. And I tell the teacher, look, this girl, once she sees something, she never forgets. So paint a picture for her. You know.
Let me take this call. Last call. Angel, are you still there?
Yeah, hello.
Please go ahead. Last call for this morning.
Thank you very much. You know, your program is so awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah. My problem is, I have 2 boys and 2 girls. I mean, I'll call them two first adults. You know, and my last boy is 17. My first son after is 5. So I noticed something with the boys. You know, right now, I'm so worried. Especially my 17-year-old son, who is just about 20 years old. They are easily swayed, and I wonder why. But they are easily
influence.
You know, they do things that their parents do.
Peer pressure.
So it's so scary. My son, my son is like fine.
All right, the phone is not very clear, but I think I was able to get what you said. Your children are easily influenced by their peers.
Boy.
So let us get that quickly.
You know, you've noticed it. It's time for you to have conversations with that your son. Now, what really influences him? Is it their looks? Is it how they talk? Is it the fact that they're intelligent? Now, you've got to identify exactly what it is and which of their peers is most influential. Profile that peer, right? And find a role model that is a positive role model that you can, for that your child, that you can now extract a lot of things from. So you begin to now give references about this role model that, you know, this child can now begin to focus on and defocus on this peer. And this is the time where you need to be in that child's life, because if you lose that child now, that child will continually be influenced by his peers. So you've got to know what exactly is it that is enticing this child. You've got to know exactly which peer it is. Is it that these people are successful? Is it that their parents are successful? Is it that they're rich? What is it that is enticing this child? What is it that you don't have in your house that this child is aspiring for? What is it that is attracted to? You've got to be able to also be sincere with yourself and tell yourself the truth. And you should be able to sit with the child and tell that child, in this family, we don't have this. But we have this, we have this. And
build the self-esteem.
That's where family values and family beliefs and our own family goal and vision is critical. You've got to sit down with your child and say, this is our own family vision. These are our values. These are our core beliefs. And these are the things, the rules that guide us. And these are the parameters and the barriers and the
Please, I have a question, Mariah, please.
We have tweets.
Ladies tend to have, for young girls, there are a lot of ways to teach them about sex education. But I have boys. I don't know how to teach boys' sex
That's your
education.
husband will do that.
There is no. I'm saying that, you know, for ladies, you can say, oh, if they touch your body, if they do this, how will I sensitize my son?
Okay.
Who should your son be talking to?
Your husband now.
No, both of you. Because look, your son may not be comfortable with your husband because your husband may be the strict one, maybe the one that comes across as strict. So he may not be open with your husband, right? It may be you, right? But you see, one thing I say is you need both parents, husband and wife, to bring up a whole child.
I want us to take some tweets. I don't want us to lose any tweets. Please, let's take 3 each from both of you.
Says, please help me tell those pastors out there not to be too spiritual and shy to give sex education and stop overprotection. Bolaji Nation Builder says, it's even certain yet if one, that's off this tweet. Demola Agbeke says, at what age should a child have a separate room, bathroom and toilet? Then Superfly Everything says, I have a 3-year-old daughter. I started applying the naughty corner technique when she was 1.5 years, and it works perfectly.
Okay. Yeah. So what time should we start putting a child in a separate room?
It depends on your finances.
Okay.
If you live in a flat that is 2-bedroom flat and there's 8 of you, which room are you going to?
All right. So it depends on finances.
Yeah, it depends on your finances. It depends on your own values. Yeah. It depends on different things, you know. And but you find some people that they can afford it right from when they are children. Let them.
Okay.
Have that independence.
Nima, let's take 3 tweets from you, please.
Okay. Fanatic says, know the capabilities of your children and tame them because children learn subliminally. Discipline goes a long way. And Omolabake says, good morning, good women in the house. Please, okay, sorry, that one's out. Sheu says, sometimes parents are the role model of their children. As a good father or mother, let your kid know what is right and wrong.
Alainka Bread says, good one from Mr. Larry. My first child learned well by repeating. My second, I noticed I had to give her reasons for everything, and she learned well. Then my advice, that's Kafi, to parents is, if you turn out well, train your children the way you were trained.
Okay.
There's something that I want to pick up from the two tweets, right? You've got to involve your first child with your second and third child's upbringing as well. You've got to involve everybody, and it's got to be the whole family that is involved. So when one child does something wrong, use it as a learning point for the other child. But don't, by all means, correct every situation. So you become a teacher and they are running from you. Oh, come. You didn't move that cup properly. Everything you are trying to teach something, that's not right. Let children make mistakes. Let them be children. They can never be adults. Now, there's a word from the tweet that I heard, you read, right? It says tame a child, don't tame. I don't like that word. You've got to train and develop your child, not tame. It's not an animal. It's not a wild beast, And taming means that you're trying to tame a wild animal. You want to curb, you want to suppress, you want to repress your child. Train them, let them evolve, and let them develop. That's how you've got to approach it.
All right, any last words?
Cinderella Man says, please tell Lanre, my advice is people like him could make videos where parents can play for their kids as sex education.
They'll make the video. One person will go do copies at Alaba. You make money over there. That's why they will do that kind of thing.
So, and a lot of people are commenting. So thank you so much for all the tweets.
So he has workshops that will let send on Twitter, message on information on the Facebook and Twitter.
But I wanted to say something. Parents always say, I will report it to your teacher. I want you to, no, it's true, because that's what that teacher was saying. I
tell my daughter to, I'll report it to
your no, but it's wrong. Your teacher should be saying to your daughter that I'll report it to your parents.
Really?
Yes, it's very wrong.
No, but it really just depends, right? There's certain teachers that, my child has a particular lesson teacher that she respects a lot. And that lesson teacher is a woman and she understands my daughter. So, she's a role model. Okay. Right? So, it works both ways. Okay. But not everybody. Don't shack your own responsibility and your own position.
I think I have done that
and now say that I'll tell your teacher. If it's an analytical child, say, what would the teacher do? I mean, there are certain logical children that will be thinking.
Goodness. I think we had a great show today. We have to round up. Thank you so much, Lanre.
Thank you
it's
very
always
much,
so great having you around.
Yeah. People are asking for repeating.
Yeah, they can't do any repeats. I mean, don't pay for the workshop, please. You can't suck him dry like that. But thank you so much. Ladies, we had a good show today.
Yes, thank you.
Callers, you can call us. You can also send us messages on our Facebook. I think it's, what's it?
On Facebook, search for Your View on TVC, Your View TVC. You can drop the comments.
So we also send messages on workshops for Lanre Olushola for those of you that want to learn more on how to actually understand your children better and train them better. Thank you so much. You can watch a repeat broadcast at 11:30 p.m. tonight. You can also watch previous episodes by going to YouTube/TV Entertainment and search for Your View. Remember, your vote is your right. Don't waste it. Use it wisely. God bless you. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.